I described Liam Lawson as he's like the son of the villain in an 80s comedy, like college movie.
How do you DNF twice in a race?
To tell you who's more shocking than him is fucking Logan Sargent.
Oh, Star.
At ease, Sergeant, you're retired.
Where did we go? Who knows? Doesn't matter.
My lovely.
No, because we're back.
I want to know.
I'm back from Europe. Back with some internet and away from the trials and tribulations of the Rugby World Cup to talk about the ever-growing, ever more exciting sport of Formula One racing featuring Max Verstappen. And didn't we
and the rest
experience quite a good few weeks?
And the curve.
In all seriousness, an apology. We've been away for a few weeks. Hopefully you haven't left us behind. If you have, you can't even hear this right now. But those who are still here, thank you for waiting out.
Yeah, get fucked if you can't hear
It's very
us.
hard to get all this done when I'm on the road. But we are here to have a few quick recaps of Singapore and Japan, talk about more of the news of Formula One world, because we've been away for so long. There's actually a few cool things to talk about. And I, for one, was pretty excited at Singapore because for a minute there was hope that maybe the Red Bull dominance had finished, only for those dreams to be squashed in Japan.
A week later.
Like a Godzilla. Like a Godzilla.
Taylor Shoy, Evan Locke, how are you boys?
I am good. It's nice to be back and catching up with you boys. It's been a hot minute for sure.
Ev, what's been going on, mate?
Jeez, what hasn't been going on? Not a lot.
We're very interesting people.
We've missed like the two of the best races of the year.
Japan wasn't that great.
It was great, but it was and it wasn't. We'll get there, but
Yeah,
Right.
it was nice to see it sunny for a change.
Yeah, that's right. It's normally monsoonal. Next year, it's really early. It's like the third race in the season.
it's
or
straight
something.
after Australia.
Springtime.
Yeah. Interesting. Will the blossoms be in bloom?
I fucking hope so.
The cherry blossoms.
Yeah.
Blossoms.
So since our last episode, one of our all-time fans who chats to us often on Instagram, Lydia, came to our furnace show. She got a cheeky photo of me and sent it to the Instagram chat. She didn't come and say hello, but she did take a photo just to let me know she was there. So, hi Lydia, thanks for that. It was a picture of me riding around in a blow-up pink convertible with Nikki Webster. I don't know if
There you
saw
go.
it, yeah.
No context needed.
Singing.
That wasn't even part of the show.
Singing Barbie Girl. No, it wasn't even. I was just. That's just something that I do. So Ev, overall,
buddy.
what did you think of the Singapore race?
It kind of felt like a race from 15 years ago.
Why is that?
Because, I mean, all the new fans, nobody would know of refueling in Formula One.
How long ago did they get rid of refueling?
Like 10 years ago or something. Well, it's dangerous. It's like inherently dangerous. Obviously, you got, Ferrari can't even put four wheels on a car correctly, let alone refuel it. It is kind of, there is danger involved. Oftentimes you'll see not often, but you'd see cars drive off with the hose attached, or
Jesus.
You'd see big fireballs. In reality, it's actually not that dangerous because while the fuel is, and back in those days it was racing fuel. Nowadays they use 95 octane, I think.
Yeah.
Like a
commoner fuel.
Yeah. So it burns so instantaneously that it doesn't explode. It just like catches light and then burns out. And these guys are all in Nomex suits and everything, so there's absolutely no threat to them. Not to downplay the danger, but anyway, they got rid of it because it made really bad publicity.
Mm-hmm.
And
not to keep the drivers safe, just to fix publicity.
And it was, but what it did do is, for example, you wouldn't, right now, the only strategy you have is what tire you're going to start the race on. And, well, everybody starts the race on the same tire these days. Excuse me. So, but back then, you would be like, well, what if we start on a really heavy fuel load and try and go long on because the refueling takes longer than just doing tires. And so, what if we go really long, heavy load, but with soft tires, and then we'll come in, and then we'll vice versa it, and then like there's way more jeopardy involved in that strategy. And so, what we saw in Singapore for the first time in a long time was jeopardy in strategy, which was that Mercedes were holding back a set of medium tires, weren't they? They were the only team to have it. And the only time it would have worked is in like the final quarter of the race or the final third of the race. So they could go to the end on those tires. And for a really long time, it looked like it wasn't going to pay out. And then it did. And then Mercedes came storming back, and it was epic. It's only a shame that if they had another... I don't think it was as surefire as what everybody was saying. The projections were like, well, Mercedes are going to overtake you in 2 laps or something. But in reality, it depends on where you catch up to the car at Singapore, and any road circuit. It's the same. It depends on where you are, more so than a regular track. And that's just because of the dynamics of a street circuit versus a regular circuit. So that catching up, yes, they caught up to, was it Lando? Well, they caught up to the Ferrari, Charles Leclerc, and they just drove around him. And then George caught up to Lando and couldn't get past him because of the layout of where they were in the track. And then George fucked it. And then that didn't give Lewis enough time to catch up.
Let's talk about George fucking it, right? So that was only a few corners from the end. And if you re-watch it, I'm sure everyone knows this, but Lando Norris hit exactly the same point on the wall. He was just lucky enough not to come unhinged and crash. Now, you've talked about this before. Why... George is following behind closely, but not that closely. How does he not see that and then avoid that mistake?
Oh, you're not looking at the wall. You're looking at the opposite direction. So he's looking at the apex, and he's probably been influenced by Lando by trying to stay in the slipstream. And so it's a bit of a thing where like Lando's kind of drifted wide, probably because his tires were already fucked. That he didn't have enough grip to come into the corner any shallower. He needed as much angle as he could get. He bumped it. For whatever reason, it didn't upset the car. I imagine it's because George Russell was in a full-out attack mode. The fact that when he bumped the wall, it probably upset the car all the more.
Yeah, way more.
Like a clenched fist, whereas
and it was kind of like he's like ghosting Lando, so he's subconsciously just following that line, right?
That's all that was. And ironically enough, because Lewis was faster on those tires, if they'd have just swapped it around, Lewis probably would have got Lando. And then, like, it just works out that way sometimes, where the guy in front, oftentimes actually, the guy in front is slower than the guy behind, because the guy behind's got more of a slipstream. Or he can give himself more room to maneuver. Whereas, as we saw with George, he gave himself no room to maneuver, subconsciously got affected by being too far over to one side, bumped it, completely lost it, and he was like a blind spot, and he just got ankle tapped. And
but interesting, you say he's focusing on the apex, because obviously when you're watching TV, you're really just focusing on what's in front of them, or like the wall. We don't have to look at the apex, so we're looking at the surroundings more, and you don't even think about that, because it is all feel. You've got the feel. Otherwise, you just never be able to do it at the speed that they do it at. So bit of luck just didn't go his way, which was a shame. I saw. I mean, watching it, it's like, this is what we want all year. You can't manufacture it, so that's fine, right? Max, everyone goes, oh, why are you so sick of Max winning? It's just like Lewis. But it's not just like Lewis, because when Lewis was winning, he was winning, but there was always the possibility that someone might take him, or they did take him. So like Rosberg, and you had Vettel beating him for a while. You then had Max constantly challenging him. We used to love the fact that Max was challenging him. It was exciting. Max often would lose, but it pushed Hamilton a bit. Strategy was important, because one wrong decision, one lap too late would change all the results. This was far closer to that. And it was kind of cool for Ferrari to see them up top. I think what I got out of it is that, and Japan, which we'll get to, is the Mercedes as a team are the two closest drivers, other than maybe Ferrari. They consistently are rolling together, and a lot of people seem to want to compare them to Perez and Max. But in what's Verstappen, and we'll talk about that a little later. But Tay, what were your thoughts?
Yeah. All I can say is like, it was so exciting, just watching what the race could be, what an F1 race could actually be if we didn't have any sole person dominating, right? So what was really cool was just how awesome it was that the tire strategy for Mercedes, how they had that spare set of brand new mediums, and they fucking, as soon as they put them on, it was just awesome watching them just hunt down Norris and Sainz.
So yeah, because Tay, Ev mentioned that as well. How did they keep that spare? Do people know that they had that medium set spare, or was it like a surprise?
Yeah, no, everyone knew because it was.
How come they had a spare set? Why didn't anyone else have a spare set?
Nobody else went to the trouble of it. What you have in Singapore, which is somewhat unique, is that they do all the practice during the daytime, and then the qualifying's at nighttime, and so everybody's kind of burning through their rubber during the daytime when it's hotter, and then they get to the nighttime and it's a lot cooler, and so it changes the dynamics of the tires. But Mercedes went way out of their way to keep that tire, which was just a huge risk because the only way it would work is actually how it worked out.
Yeah.
That you needed 10 laps. That's what you needed. If the safety car comes out too early, it's not worth it. If it comes out too late, it's wasted. It just it was a really beautiful thing that
beautifully
they got
timed.
Yeah. Anyway, that's
okay.
That's
well, any fool who thought this was the beginning of change for Red Bull, sorely mistaken. Ev or Tay, actually, can you explain why they performed so poorly in Singapore and why that changed so abruptly in Japan?
I thought it was because of the new regulations that the FIA had brought in, where there could be no flex on the front ends or the chassis, the pan. What do you call it? The bed.
skid tray.
Yeah, the skid tray. Yeah. So I generally had thought that was the reason. I generally believed that was the reason why, because however they had set up their car seemed to do really well prior to all that, and then that's the only common denominator, I should say, that I felt was like, oh, is it like that's all I knew that had happened that could have caused, and they just didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't think it was anything to do with weather. I didn't think it was anything to do with the track, or that the track's not suitable for their car, because I think that would be bullshit. You know, I don't see out of
so it's kind of
and not be that dominant based on that single track.
What has happened is that a directive did come in which said that you couldn't have your wings flexing.
Yes.
And get away with it. And one funny thing that I'd seen across those two races is that there's a nose camera on all the cars on the front wing, and you can clearly see there is the top flap is dissected or bisected, I should say, and there's like a ring support on all the cars, and so one ring kind of goes down like that under load. And that stopped happening because you can very clearly see it. And so all these teams have obviously had to like put another strip of carbon fiber or something to stiffen it up to stop it because it's so obvious. Anyway, and so that's what we all thought. But what it turned out was that because it's a street circuit, very bumpy, obviously very irregular surface material, medium, I suppose, that Red Bull is designed to succeed lower than every other car because their suspension works in such a way they don't get the porpoising.
Yeah.
So if you have to raise your ride height to compensate for the bumpiness of an irregular street circuit, and you've got those high speeds, whereas say at Monaco, it's a low speed track, a low speed circuit. And earlier in the season when they're at Azerbaijan, another street circuit, everybody else was already behind the 8 ball, so that's why it didn't show up. It didn't kind of undercut Red Bull, I should say. But now we're at the tail end of the season. Ferrari is starting to get their act together.
Mercedes are up there, McLaren. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's showing up Red Bull that car it doesn't handle high ride heights because it's just not meant for that. It's only meant to be slammed, whereas no other car is meant to be slammed because nobody else has figured out porpoising still.
Yeah.
And so that's why Red Bull succeed at every other track on the circuit because their car's better at being low, whereas everybody else is kind of like a medium. It's like driving with Yoshi or Mario. Not Yoshi. You'd be driving with Mario and Mario Kart. He's an all-rounder. That's like every other car is an all-rounder, whereas only Max's car is Yoshi, which is really handling and nippy. That's what happened, and that's why it is that Red Bull, albeit they had a really poor practice session for leading up to in Japan. That qualifying where he was a half a second ahead of everybody else or something, the biggest
ridiculous
gap in history or something. And it's like, wow. And to his credit, he lit it up. He nailed every sector, and he's the only guy to beat his own time. But
isn't it ridiculous though? It's just like, we showed them, and it's just like, shut the fuck up, you cunt.
You didn't show anyone. You did the same thing week in, week out. Everyone's
Perez
no one's
didn't show us.
Anymore. Yeah,
it's weird how
how many crashes does he want to have now?
He caused Yuki damage in Singapore. Then he caused Magnussen damage in Japan.
Shockingly bad.
To tell you who's more shocking than him is fucking Logan Sargent.
Oh,
is Sargent worse than
Eddie Sargent? You're retired.
I feel like we come across this question every time, and
he's not worse.
I don't know
Latifi.
if I've ever posed it so directly though. Like, would you rather have him or Latifi in your team?
Neither.
Yeah, neither. I'd go to rally.
Shit.
I'd go to rally or I'd go to IndyCar.
I will literally have an empty seat. That's how much they're worth.
To be honest, I would say you'd probably have more points if it's an empty seat.
Yeah,
because all the time and design could be focused solely on how you drive in your car. He's adding nothing. And he's also just damaging everyone else's cars. Okay, well, it was amazing just how much more interesting it was when our top driver is miles ahead. Kind of like, look, like we said, it happened with Lewis. We got bored with it. We got racing towards the end. Now it's just completely gone the other way. But it's exciting when anything can happen, which is kind of what you want. And I'm sure Liberty Media would love that. I thought it was a very tumultuous Singapore GP for a track that is famously very hard to overtake on. There were a lot of close calls, a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing on such a small track. Why are we seeing that this year? Do you reckon it's like? I guess the car has something to do with it, but it was the same car as last year, essentially.
What you're seeing
is it because there's less pressure on these drivers? So
or
they were excited that Max wasn't there, so they all kind of were giving it more of a go?
I think what you're seeing is the effect of the salary cap. That if you can only spend 140 million, the McLaren and the Ferraris have taken, a year and a half or 2 years to get their act together, and they're now getting their act together.
It's just getting used to the car and actually knowing what they can and can't do.
Yeah, and like Mercedes, as you said, have been super consistent in both drivers succeeding at the same time, and doing with this, or failing at the same time as well, and being knocked out of Q3 or something. But that's what the salary cap is, and you see it time and again in other sports where they have salary caps. That the teams just kind of start to coalesce around performance. It's Max himself. It's not Perez. It's just Max, who's such an outlier in the data that you would dismiss it. There's no way you can incorporate that into a data set.
It's not an
Max's average performance. Yeah. Whereas everybody else is on the curve. When you're now seeing Albon, who got put into Red Bull as a rookie and flushed down the toilet. Now he's 2 years later with 2 years worth of experience and a car that's built for him, and he knows what he wants. And now Albon, the Millhouse of the drivers, is doing really well.
Everything is coming up Millhouse.
You're now seeing stability at Haas as well. They're not doing great anymore, but they started off the season really well.
And they're qualifying very well.
Man,
That's right.
Hulkenberg's been very consistent with Haas.
Yeah, everything's on. Everybody is making the same relative gains, except Max Verstappen, because Perez is on Perez is on the curve. On this, if you have a potential curve of where that car could be and should be and is, Perez fits in with the top teams like Mercedes, Ferrari, and now McLaren. And you see Aston Martin is slipping back because they're not bringing in any upgrades. They're probably just focusing on next year. Earlier than everybody else. Perhaps they saw that their year started really well this year. So what if they start planning next year even sooner? That could be it. That could be their tactic. They've also got large infrastructure coming in this year, so perhaps they're like, what's the point of spending money this year if next year's when we're going to have all of that?
But you can't roll over. So, all right, that's
you can all the time in Formula One.
That's a question for you. There's a salary cap of 140, right? Say you don't go through that entire 140 in the season. It
doesn't roll over.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm asking. It doesn't roll over. So what happens to that extra money?
Ask Williams. They've never even had half the salary cap.
Yeah.
That's all. It's just potential, and you don't get to spend it.
Yeah. So as long as it's whatever the team can afford, and they can't go over that 140. So if gotcha. Yeah.
That's all.
So I missed that last bit.
I was just asking. Like, it was one of those things where I was thinking it was like a budget, and have $140 million budget, and it's like, but if you don't spend it all, the next year you have.
It carries over. No,
it doesn't carry over. Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
No,
you got to spend it all. I mean, I think I mentioned this before. Mercedes felt like a team more so than other teams, so it really. I guess it's starting to stick out now because it's been so consistent.
You know what's interesting,
I think to go back how close they've been racing. I think that's what's going to keep them above, or what's at least keeping them up near Ferrari.
Mercedes, yeah. Well,
neither of them are really doing too crash hard.
I don't think Ferrari's all that good either.
They're
they've
not
lucked
that good.
out. They've lucked out with Sainz and how well he's done. I mean, he's done loads better.
There's a few tracks where they've been high performers, but this is the first win that they had since Austria last year.
Yeah,
an eternity ago. So it was cool. 4 drivers, 3 different teams at the end. That's what we want to see. We're not going to really get it often, but how do we get more of that? How do we get more of the?
It will happen
not having
naturally.
someone 20 seconds ahead.
Max needs to.
It will happen naturally if you don't have Max.
Yeah.
Imagine every race that'd be it. You just have to have faith in the cost cap, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's starting to prove its worth already.
Yeah, okay.
And also, it's a bit like an amalgamation because that thing where you finish, wherever you finish, that means you get more or less R&D time.
Yeah.
Like wind tunnel time and that.
Yeah.
And so that's purposefully to balance it out. And that has already paid dividends. So, I mean, I'm optimistic, I guess, about next year.
Yeah.
What's next year?
No,
2026.
Is it bad that I'm already wanting it to be 2026?
We did this last year.
Yeah.
2026. You're looking way ahead.
Yeah, but only
mate.
because they bring in all this new stuff, and it's almost like. To be fair, it'll be interesting to see where we are next year. If Max
in my experience, it's
out,
best not to set your sights to a change in rules or a change in tech. You're just gonna ride the wave and enjoy what's coming. You don't know what will happen next year. It might be more of the same, but it might be very different. Anything can happen.
I fucking hope it's not the same.
Well, that was Singapore GP. Congratulations to Carlos Sainz for winning. Norris second, and the lucky man Hamilton coming in at third.
That was so unfortunate with George.
So we move then on to the Japanese GP. As we come into Japan, Red Bull are looking to fight back after their horrendous form in Singapore. I say Red Bull's horrendous form, Max's horrendous form. Checo is the same as always. And he really just doesn't break a sweat in this race. So, yes, Max won. That's all we're going to talk about Max for now. It's now talking about the team 19 seconds behind. Although I will say one thing. The Red Bull Championship seemed so underwhelming at the end. Even
it really did.
They sound like they barely care. Like, they obviously care, but they're not like through the roof. It's not fist pumping stuff.
Yeah, that was weird. I thought that was really weird.
They say it's unbelievable on the radio, but it doesn't sound unbelievable. They're just like, unbelievable, mate. Great job. I was like, it's not unbelievable. If it was unbelievable, they'd be like, oh my God, this is unbelievable.
It's almost an expectation.
Yeah, if Haas had won the championship this year, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's Red Bull win. That's exactly what we thought happened for some time now, since about the 5th or 6th race.
Last year, when Max won, and it wasn't until late, it wasn't until an hour or two after the race.
Oh, that's right.
In Japan,
yeah.
Right, yeah. And that was epic. I love that. Great photos.
They have the Japanese course last
because
year.
it's pitch black.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
No, they did.
You said it was pouring with rain, and that's where Max won.
Nah, I don't think
Did you not watch it?
Anyway,
No, because they were showing... Yeah, of course I watched it. But they were showing when it was last raced in, and it was 2019.
No. They had it last year, buddy. That's where Max literally won last year. It was pouring with rain.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was meant to be the last year of Honda.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was this super, bittersweet... And that's known as, Honda Land, colloquially. And so to see Honda... And all the Honda executives were crying. All these old Japanese men were
yeah, for sure.
just in tears. Yeah. And then this year, because Honda are coming back, and there's such a weird relationship between Red Bull and Honda now, that I think that's why they were a bit subdued, because you don't want to rub it in Honda's face, because it's very offensive to Japanese culture to rub something in somebody else's face. And then, but also you didn't do it without them. But you want Red Bull, Christian Horner wants the credit.
Yes.
So much.
Yeah.
And you can just tell it must be grating him that they can't call it a Red Bull powertrain car in the sense of the Mercedes and Ferrari and these works teams. That must fucking get his goat. So I suspect that's why. Not that they were being subdued or underwhelming because they didn't want to draw more attention to themselves or anything like that. I think that was
more the
they were kind
relationship
of a bit hamstrung by hot. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Something I'm going to bring up now in case I forget. So we mentioned, I don't know if it was off air or on air, that Suzuka will now be early next year.
Yeah.
Now, one of the appealing things, other than the track being just so awesome, is that often championships get decided on this track, whether it be drivers or constructors. Has another country gotten their nails in and the money in to ensure that they get one of the later tracks? Or do they prefer to have Japan in a more suitable time of year weather-wise?
No, I think that this was part of their trying to make a continental style of season.
And, zero emissions by 2030 or whatever it is?
Yeah, I see. So less travel. Taking the Evan Locke approach and doing as we told them to do last year.
God, I'm so... I'm the least anti-woke person. But these engines that they're using are the most efficient internal combustion engine ever made. It's incredible. They capture the heat energy that comes off it and convert that into power.
Energy,
it's so cool. And then you're strapping on turbos, which then reduces the noise. And you're doing all, and it's and now we're using 95 petrol that you get from
anywhere. Yeah.
And it's what are you it isn't the carbon footprint of Formula One isn't the race.
It's getting around.
That's the optics. I know the optics are of the race, but just
how
imagine
dare you?
media,
How dare
just give us
dare you even suggest that
V8?
How you don't know anything about emissions?
I'm gonna go protest on the racetrack.
Give us a V8.
Yeah, that'll show him.
I'm gonna go glue my hand to the track. and be like, no to oil.
God. Well, how are we going to get your hand off the track? We'll have to use oil-based chemicals to dissolve it.
Exactly. Or get a jackhammer and just you can take up the whole asphalt.
Well, let's kind of talk about the race. So, things that I took note of. Obviously,
Perez
Max
is shit.
streaks ahead, and then we saw McLaren 2 and 3. Now, isn't Norris just such a happy boy as long as he's beating Piastri? I've written here.
Yep,
he's only
100%.
happy when he reigns. And
that's
it was
right.
really notable when he took over Piastri. He was like, "I'm so much faster. It's just a dirty air." I was like, "There are other ways to say, hey, I think I'm driving faster. Can you let me around?" He has to make it sound like I'm not slower. It's just because of him. I'm only doing it because of him. It's not me.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, mate.
Did you another classic was when he overtook Perez and he was like, was that Max? Woohoo! And he genuinely thought he overtook Max. And he was like, woohoo! And then the his engineer or whoever his fucking dude is was just like, no, that was Perez. And he's like, copy.
Was that when he was like lapping him as well?
Yeah.
That was Perez, and Perez is 22 laps down on him.
Literally
One thing
down
I'd
on
love
you.
to see
Be
is
proud.
what the technicians say after they turn the radio off. So it's just like, no,
Yeah.
that
What
was
a
Perez.
fucking flog.
You fucking piece of shit.
You
I'm
fucking
so sick
flog.
of this guy. Turns back
Yeah.
like, how you doing, mate? Yeah, all right. So
Yeah.
let's talk about Perez. Perez got binned. Like he causes damage to Haas. He's obviously driving rubbish. They take him in and quote unquote retire the car. Then suddenly he's back on the track.
How do you DNF twice in a race?
No, it's
Let's see. What were they trying to do here, Ev?
So yeah, you're right that this hasn't happened in a very long time, even before my time.
You're not allowed to DNF without cause, right?
Yeah, and it's a huge penalty if you ever
Right,
do.
so you could argue that
Imagine
they
you're
did without cause because they put him back out on the track.
Yeah. But the fact that they put him back on track is what you should do.
If you can work it out and get him back on.
Yeah, so for example, in Le Mans racing, you'll have something where, like, if your car destroys, like, its front right suspension, it could come in to the pit and they could spend an hour replacing that suspension and send you back out, and you'll be 20 laps down, but it plays out over 24 hours. So everybody gets this. So Le Mans is about endurance racing is about minimizing those instances, and that's who wins, is whoever minimizes. It's not the fastest car in a sense. It's whoever minimizes risk the most. So yeah, it's weird that we don't think about it that way in Formula One because the race is over within an hour and a half. I don't know what was so wrong with his car that they thought they needed to DNF him.
Yeah.
Which
I don't think...
Which then they could put him back out because, as I said, if the car is still running, you kind of have to just keep racing. For example, if you're a small team like Williams, or Williams has been smaller than they are now, they're getting better and bigger. But it's kind of like, and you saw this with Haas with Mazepin, how they couldn't afford to keep rebuilding his car. And it's like, imagine if you could just not run, like you say it in a hushed tone, but you'd be like, imagine if we just decided not to race next weekend.
Yeah.
And save, like you'd save
So much
a couple of million, right? And that's a huge amount to a small team. And even the consumables that go through the engine and all of that costs you money. Imagine just like doing the start of the race where all the cameras are still on you, then by lap 5 just pulling in and like, and we're done. We've got all the marketing shots that we were ever going to get.
Right. So,
and you're just
I know
done.
they're going to put him back on the track, but I remember there being a specific reason that they put him back on the track. Like,
so for the fines. So he got heaps of
he
fines.
got a lot of
He got
penalties.
so they
He got
wanted to-
penalties.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is what was bullshit. He got penalties, so they put him back on the track to get to play out his penalties, so they didn't go on to him next
Fulfill
week,
those
right?
penalties.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, how is no one accusing them of this bullshit behavior and getting them into more trouble?
Oh, it's underhanded. Yeah.
So why can't anyone do anything about it?
And it hasn't been done in 30 odd years or something like that.
Oh, fucking seriously.
And it's kind of gross. It's what offends me is that those penalties you serve when you come into a pit stop.
Yeah.
you've
Do
gotta-
your 5 seconds,
or
10 seconds.
save that. It'll be a drive-through penalty or something like that, or it'll be added on to the end. So, but what bothers me is that they argued, which is common. It's common sense, but if you've got a 15-second penalty, but you've been out of the race for 45 minutes, you argue that, well, I've already served that 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you're not in a competitive state.
Yeah.
Like, the whole point of it is to punish you while within a competitive state, not when you're already out
and then
add 15 seconds to my hour.
Yeah.
Like, and fucking why? Like, if Perez was good, if that were Max, he'd still come back and win it by 30 seconds because he's got that in his pocket. Like, what are you, and you've won the Constructors' Championship already.
Yeah.
What are you going to prove if Perez has 15 seconds at the start of the race next time? Like, I don't know what that is. And from a competition standpoint, it doesn't make a lot of sense, and it only paints you as being quite petty.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't need that one to be fucking petty.
Can
We've seen other situations.
Can anyone take over Perez before the end of the year? I think. They could.
Yeah.
So maybe
probably Lawson.
If he
Lawson,
if he shits the bed,
Lawson could take his job before the end of the year.
Perhaps they're worried about, because they've had punishment from breaking the cost cap last year. Perhaps they're worried about if they lose Perez that
they'll have to pay for someone better and more expensive.
But it's like they've already won the championship, so I don't know why it would. It's not going to affect the team.
Yeah.
If they can't, the team can't come second, so I don't know why they care about Perez.
Maybe it's to prove that it's more the car than Max. It'd be embarrassing if one of your drivers performed so poorly for the rest of the year. Unlike
honestly, and like
Mercedes, who stick very close
saying,
together. Technically, like you could say they were doing needless fighting. I know Russell was getting frustrated for a while, but like, what else are they going to do? They're not racing anyone else. They may as well keep us entertained.
Yeah. Also, can we acknowledge, and this stems on because Hamilton and George have been very close in the last two races, right? But did you notice the way Lewis drives, and you just see that experience, and you see that world champion when he's driving behind George, right? And George is like just trying to fucking just catch Norris and all this sort of stuff. And you just see Lewis, he's just like calm, he's collected, he's biding his time. And you see that as he drives. It's like incredible to watch the difference. Mm-hmm. Like, it was really impressive.
He talked about how he consciously needs to improve his qualifying. And that was really surprising because we never heard that from Lewis
before.
Like a
little bit of humble pie.
Famously, one of the best qualifiers and is one of the best drivers in history. And all of this hype around Max from Max fans, it's like Lewis has won 7.
8.
Should have won 8. And shouldn't have won the first one that he...
I guess maybe then it
balances out. But it's like, shit, like, what the same thing everybody says about him, whether they like him or hate him, is that how he, like, it's a bit like Jordan. Like, Lewis is so good. Tiger Woods had this as well, where it's so good at applying pressure. That's why Nico Rosberg quit.
Yeah.
He couldn't go on being in front of him. It was like, imagine not being able to sleep because
Lewis is just literally behind you.
Like a tiny little 55-kilo guy. And that was the first time when he was behind George. And if he admits that he needs to improve his qualifying, and it seemed to signal a change in tone with Lewis, and I suspect that next year they're going to fix the car for him, because they haven't had a car for him this year or last year. And I think that's really scary.
Oh, well, I hope so. I hope it, because like it would be great.
Yeah,
it would be great if even if we can just get a title fight between Max and him.
Yeah.
Like, and just have some sort of racing where it's at least two drivers are battling for it rather than fucking dominance that we're seeing.
Yeah.
Well, that's. I mean, George is clearly up there with Lewis, but like you said, Lewis has that consistency and control.
See,
there's
you know
nothing. It's like, if he's behind, he's biding his time. If George is behind, he's constantly trying to get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and that's the experience. That's the knowing of. That's just that you can tell why he is who
I
he
think
is.
What's really interesting is how Max, with an objectively shit car at Singapore, had no impact whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter how good you are.
But isn't that a great
Alonso,
example? When the cars are bad, he's bad. Like, that's how good their car is this year. And I know everyone will make the argument Checo's not as good. So it's not made for him. It's made for Max a very specific way. We've seen this with all his drivers.
Yeah.
So we've seen this with Alonso.
Whatever. Anyway.
When they started the year.
Wait, Ev's
Aston Martin started the year really well. And everybody's like, oh, Alonso's back. Everybody loves Alonso because he drives with his dick, one hand's on his dick, one hand's on the wheel. He's just such a Spanish, he's blowing kisses to the crowd and stuff like that.
This is your edit
instead
video.
Instead of a lollipop at the pit lane, they've got like a Toro. Like, whoa, and then the car bugs.
I want Ricciardo and Alonso on the same team. That's what I want.
Yeah, that'd be
awesome. That would be amazing.
But now that car has gone shit because they didn't upgrade it, and Alonso is doing nothing.
Well, he still drove pretty well in
like,
Japan, though. He may not have been right at the top, but he was showing that he can drive well in a bad car.
I want Formula One's all about the headlines and the bravado of it all, it bothers me how it's like drivers. It happened with Vettel that even great drivers need a great car to do anything.
Like any great,
and that's true. Any team,
you have a great player and a great team. You can't, or a great player.
The French could have one good player.
A great player can lift a good team, like a great driver can lift a good car. But you can't fix a bad team or a bad car. Like you said, Singapore, Red Bull struggled, so Max struggled.
Yeah. The only argument I have for that is Schumacher with Ferrari, but it took him years.
But that's what I mean. A good driver lifting a good team, like he lifted that team. That's why he is so highly regarded.
Yeah.
And now, as we saw last weekend, Ferrari just doing their thing in the background, not really the worst, but just kind of sitting back.
Well, where they've been for the whole year.
Yeah, and it's just not exciting for them. It's not exciting for us. Sainz won at Singapore, but it really didn't mean anything because they're not competing for it. And we knew that next week would probably be more or less the same.
Yeah.
It's
amazing. It's amazing actually seeing how far Charles has dropped and actually how far Sainz has become like
their driver,
a more reliable driver.
Yeah. Do you think that's just a mental game thing? Like,
probably.
I think
Charles,
the amount of problems that Charles has been given with Ferrari, and then he's just like, I just can't. I'm just checking out a bit.
I'm burnt out. Yeah.
Because where did he end up in Singapore?
He was in the back. Not the back, but he was in
the standard spot.
Mid pack.
Yeah, okay.
Not even mid. He was in the points, but I think he was in the low points.
Just nothing. He wasn't in the top, regardless. I think we're seeing a bit of a drift from him. I think he's probably done for the year.
Oh, hang on a minute. No, he didn't do too bad. I think he ended up being behind Hamilton, and then obviously because
so he was coming fifth until George crashed.
Yeah.
So that's as expected. But with Sainz at the top, you'd expect a little more from him. He certainly wasn't near that pack. Anyway, that's Japan. So that's Max first, Lando second, and Piastri. Good for Piastri. His first podium. McLaren
He's
obviously
so
a bit
well.
more on top of their game. I'm very excited to see if McLaren keep this level up. Having him and Daniel on the grid next year will definitely lift the Australian audiences because we now have two drivers to root for, and both will be somewhat good depending on how that AlphaTauri goes.
Yep.
I tell you what, I feel bad for Nick De Vries, who was treading water and then got booted, and everybody was saying how, well, look, these drivers need time.
Yeah.
It's such a step up. It's the same from like first division football to Premier League or semi-professional to professional sports. It's a bigger step up than any step up to that point.
Talk about to Liam Lawson,
relatively speaking. Yeah, and then Liam Lawson comes in and just like
don't know what you're worried about.
Looks effortless. Yeah,
because he's a Kiwi, mate,
and it's like
it's got nothing to do with it.
Yuki Tsunoda, who's
Best
just like an angry little munchkin, and is just like, you know, he's every week Yuki seems to struggle.
It's because he's a hothead, though.
And
he's so passionate.
Yeah,
and
I know
emotional.
that.
He's got too much emotion for an F1 driver.
Yeah,
Liam Lawson is exactly.
Yeah,
how did you describe Liam Lawson the other day, Ev? Every photo that he's in, he looks like the high school movie
I
jock.
described Liam Lawson as, he's like the son of the villain in an 80s comedy, like college movie. And like, do you know who my father is?
It was great.
And he's got like,
you were just on a
he's got like a really hot. He's got the cheerleader girlfriend, but she doesn't actually love him.
The nerd
She's
gets
just like
the
a
better
bit
of him,
dimwit,
and he starts kind of crying. I'll get you, Mackenzie.
Yeah.
My father will make sure that your
yeah.
dad's
And your
a little
little-
sharp, never
We're gonna
runs
beat you at the
again.
Battle of the Bands Saturday night,
And
buddy.
your little dog too.
And it's like his dad's apartment real estate company is buying like the nerd kids' dad's garage, and they want to get rid of it. And they have a battle of the bands, and the winner
That's right.
gets to keep.
But
the
they're going to get
property.
rid of the YMCA to knock it down and build apartments. But this is the
If you're
community
wondering-
center, bro.
If you're
This is
wondering
for the
what Ev
community.
is getting this from, if you just do a quick Google image search of Liam Lawson, you'll see what we're talking about. Perfectly cast.
I know. I found it. And someone's like, "What'd you say to me?"
Yeah.
Looks like you dropped your books, Devlin.
Wait, have you done my homework yet?
Yeah.
But like all of his attitude comes from like he's afraid of his father.
Yes.
Like that's what it turns out to be.
He's actually just
His
Max
character
Verstappen.
motivation.
Well,
that's
let's go. Let's
And
move on to
every
what's
Jos Verstappen's girlfriend.
What's Verstappen in? Because Liam Lawson is
Allegedly.
the hot topic here. What's Verstappen in is going to be our only regular segment today, just because we haven't done a proper episode. We're going to have a quick fire round of the current issues. I'll give Ev and Tay 30 seconds to give me their fast and efficient opinion on this. So let's start with Liam. Number one, Liam Lawson, the new kid on the block who's been essentially shunned by AlphaTauri, which is understandable for 2024 because Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda will be their drivers again. But he has shown great promise. Is there an opportunity for him to join a team like Williams? Or if not Williams, where else would you want to see him? Or is there a way he should or could be driving for AlphaTauri? Taylor, start with you.
I think after his performance, I don't think the Red Bull guys will want to let him go, even if it is to go have a seat with the other teams. I think it even came out that he will be most likely racing in 2025.
Brilliant.
So that, but also what I would have preferred was probably him and Ricardo. That would have
Yes,
been a good pair
I
up.
think so too. I think it's just been too quick for that. Ev, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that Yuki's really, and everybody adores Yuki first and foremost. I know I keep beating him down. And I'm punching like vertically down, but
Jesus.
I adore him.
Yeah.
He's like the little champion. I love him.
He's so funny.
But he's so inconsistent.
Yeah.
And you look at Liam Lawson, has only ever been consistent. Daniel Ricciardo for what, he had 3 races or something, and he was instantly consistent with that car. I reckon Perez has to be done. How good could Perez be in the final, 4 races we've got or something like
5
that?
races.
How good could he be? I know he's got a contract for next year, but
It's 6
contracts mean
races,
nothing.
actually. There's 6 races left.
There's still good for you to go. Qatar,
I don't think there's
being
enough.
next.
Qatar, US, Mexico, then it's Brazilian, Vegas, then Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, let's just hope it's an electric race so we can say it's an electric Qatar.
Look, I'd put Lawson in the Red Bull.
Instead
I'd
of
let him, blood him in.
Really?
we were talking off camera about like teams.
You get rid of Perez altogether and just throw Lawson in.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, you got to make sure you can control that
car
car
blood
first.
young
He's still pretty
players.
young. He's still very new.
Yeah, but
I know he's shown. He's shown promise, but Leclerc showed a lot of promise.
It's more about,
and then suddenly has underperformed.
It's more about attitude. So it's more about attitude. I forget where I saw it, but they talk about
he's got the jock attitude.
Yeah.
You guys have 3
Rolexes. What's his face? Albon when he was at Red Bull. And they didn't like that he didn't get his elbows out. And then whenever he did, Lewis did that overtake around the outside, and he like shit himself, because that would be horrifying if that happened to you. Because you're trying too hard at the
wrong time,
opposite time that you're.
Lawson looks like someone who definitely takes his chances. The introduction that he got in the Dutch Grand Prix, like you can't ask for a more insane introduction to the F1, and he passed with flying colours. So if you can handle that,
that's right.
There's not much you can't handle. Okay,
I think
that's right.
You got a little boy crush on him.
No, I just think he's been the first rookie to really not be crap. Like he hasn't come in and just he's at the back.
I think Piastri lived up to it.
Yeah, Piastri's better.
Yeah, but Piastri had a whole summer to train and get ready and, start. Like, he didn't start.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
He wasn't he was fine.
He's still a rookie, though. He hasn't driven at some of these tracks ever.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd ever driven it at Suzuka.
No, he hadn't.
And he deserved to beat Lando. Lando didn't deserve to be in front of him.
He didn't.
I hate that word,
and
deserve. Anyway.
Anyway. Hashtag woke.
Hashtag entitled.
Yeah. Right, let's go to what we were talking about before we went on the air. Gimmicks don't last, so don't focus on them. We've seen a slight decline already in the popularity of F1, perhaps due to the alienation of the sport itself. Tay, you start. I want you to talk about what the F1 has done negatively in the way of gimmicks and why they don't work, or if, in your opinion, they do work and they should continue down that road.
I mean, obviously, I can't really speak firsthand about what the weekend represents because I've never been to one. But I think on one level,
as a TV product, clearly as a live product, it's fine. But as a TV product,
right. I just I don't know. It's hard to. They're trying to cause drama. They're trying to make it like every race feels like there's some sort of drama or some shit, and I don't know. How do you like? I guess this is really the thing. It's like when you have someone who's so dominant, what can you do? It's not like it's very.
Yeah, that's right. It's not anybody's fault.
Okay, okay. Let's.
It's not anybody's fault.
Let's go to Ev then. Ev, how are you answering this?
Yeah, I think the best way you can say this is how do you think next season's Drive to Survive is going to work?
And that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Okay, well,
and that's I think that's the only metric that matters, because the first season, which I think everybody agrees was the most entertaining, it didn't actually have a lot of drama because that was the year before
Ferrari and Mercedes were in
the Abu Dhabi. Yeah. So it was like, but it was so fascinating to see behind the scenes.
It was so new and fresh.
That people didn't really get much access. You'd see that every once in a while on Sky, but they were very traditional because the BBC or Sky have had the television rights for forever. Yeah. And so we're very used to that format, that style of, And so this Netflix thing switched it up. And then the next year was the most incredible year ever. And now it's like there's nothing's going on. And then you've got these gimmicks which are falling flat because you're investing in millennial content creators who don't reflect any of what used to be
what F1 was about.
The standards. Yeah, so for example, this week Azerbaijan invaded parts of Central Europe, and they've propagated cultural genocide. That's not a good thing. We're going to have a Formula One race there next year, and it's kind of in the face of human rights, and very much so as well. And then like the shit with Qatar.
This is the thing this is the thing
Saudi
that
Arabia.
You've got to be careful of. You can't preach one thing if you're not going to follow through with it on your words.
Because then it has no value.
And there's this big difference.
Your product
and that's
has no
when it
value.
shows what publicity is versus actual substance in your sport. Don't preach it if you can't follow through with it. Just because then when it happens, everyone sees that you're just in it to look the part. And
no, it's not even about looking the part. It's the money.
No, but
like
that's where But hey, it is. Looking the part provides you with the money. By being woke, people care about you more. It's all about keeping yourself on the mainstream and being. It's like, for instance,
look at the ticket
my
prices
mate Taylor
for
Swift
Miami
this week. She's dating an NFL player. That's all I can fucking talk about. She went to a Jets game, and there was all this big headlines about her and the Jets. Do you know why they did that? So when you search Taylor Swift and Jets, it doesn't talk about the big carbon footprint she leaves in her private jet that she flies around the world on. So now when you search Taylor Swift and the Jets, it's about the football team. Because it was being brought up as a really odd thing that there were all these headlines about. It's like, no one cares about the Jets. Why are they talking about the Jets game? Like, who gives a shit? And then that came up. That's why. It's like, now all her fans don't see that. They don't care. She can do whatever she wants. They'll follow her to the ends of the earth.
Yeah.
F1 needs to either follow through with this or stop relying on being this. They don't need to be this special green fucking sport. They can do whatever they want. They've got a core fan base who will follow them and who are there for the racing. If you alienate them with the gimmicks, you will lose because the gimmicks won't keep people around. It'll make them interested for a small time and then they'll leave when they're done and bored.
They talk about the prices for Miami and what you get for that as well. Yeah. So if to get a paddock pass at Miami, and people who go there and have, saved up all year for that, and then you realize there's nothing there for them because it's not meant for fans. It's meant for content creators and TikTok stars and things like that.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing in Vegas where it's like $100,000 for a suite, and then it's like, why? I would never like. Okay, so forever, we've had Monaco Grand Prix, and every time you watch it, a mate will always say, or your girlfriend who has more common sense would be like, why don't you just get a hotel room and you can watch it from the balcony? And it's like, yeah, but it's terrible watching it from the balcony because like you're doing this, you're like craning around, you're not engaged. You're not engaged with the sport because you don't know what the fuck is going on. And that's why you never see anybody on those balconies. And it's like, because you just be watching on, it's like going to the fireworks, right? We're in Sydney. Digby and I are in Sydney. We've all been to the Sydney fireworks plenty of times. Yes. And it's weird and boring when you're there. Because you have no point of context. And it's like you've waited 8 hours
12,
for this.
24.
You go, and then you go. But if you're at home and you watch it on TV,
you get a better view.
You get to sleep in your own bed, and you get to watch in context what's happening, and you're with people you love, and you have a great time. And it's like, $150,000 for like the W hotel, a Wynn hotel thing. And it's like, and for fucking what? You don't even see the race. Digby, you went to Austria where you can see all the track from any point.
Well, from a lot of points,
pretty much.
Right? But do you know what? There's a big difference between the TV product and the live product. The TV product is about keeping track of what is going on in the race. You've got commentary, you've got interviews, you've got description about what is happening. If you are there at the race of the weekend, it is about everything else. It's about the experience, the talking to
atmosphere,
fans, atmosphere. So the important things are access to food, access to drink, comfort,
toilets,
and toilets are a good experience.
That's really
if you
interesting.
can nail those things, great weekend. And they seem to
for
be
example-
neglecting a lot of those things. And there's only so much you want to pay for a ticket before you go, you know what, I think I'll just stay at home and watch it. Or I'll go to a fancy hotel for the weekend and watch it on TV with my girlfriend. It's like, that's way better money spent.
Being there is less interactive than just watching on TV. So, for example, I wouldn't have known that Mercedes held back tires.
Yes.
So you wouldn't know. You'd be like, "What the fuck?"
Well,
are
in
they
Austria,
doing?
I didn't know why Leclerc was slowing down so much. He had that brake problem.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
that's right.
It's just like, what the fuck's going on?
But we've all been to the SCG and we've all watched Test cricket, and back in the day when it used to be the number one sport in Australia, like the Steve Waugh era.
Yeah, the Waugh
And
brothers.
you knew because you were paying attention, like, even though you're getting drunk with your mates in the sun. You knew when Steve Waugh or Adam Gilchrist walked out.
Or Ponting.
You already knew what the narrative was,
Yeah.
and then you fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
And then or somebody goes to the bar and sees it on TV, and there's something else. So I know it's different sports, you can't compare them, but it is interesting that I don't need the radio to know what's going on in Test cricket.
Yeah. It's more just
Because
flavour.
it was more
It's a bit of
at the
flavour
time.
added
It was
on
about
top.
personalities. But now in Formula One, because personality has been removed, because there's so little strategy, you wouldn't know why Leclerc's why is he slowing down.
All the personality has been replaced by the people themselves, which you can't experience on the weekend. You can only experience it on TV.
On TV, yeah.
As a new fan, I'm a Drive to Survive newbie. I've been brought in for the characters and the drama. However, I'm a big enough sports fan that I'm actually also there for the racing. A lot of people aren't. So when they go, they'll suddenly realize that they're not getting what they want from what they think they're going to get. And I think I said to Ev, I've brought this up comparison before. It's like what happened in wrestling in the late 90s. They went all in on gimmicks, and the company that won was the one that concentrated on the actual product that they were working on before the gimmicks arrived. Gimmicks got them more eyes on the prize, but the only people who stuck around were the ones who were enjoying
The true fans,
product.
yeah.
So if that isn't working, you're going to lose them. Now, the good thing about wrestling is that you can just make up the narrative. They can't do that here unless it's Abu Dhabi and it's the final race of the season. So they do have to rely on the racing to be somewhat exciting, but I think if they keep trying to fix it, let's fix the car like this, or let's do this.
Yeah.
It's like
You can't manufacture that drama.
Yeah, it's
expectation of racing. You might get way better racing for a few weeks, and then it goes away. But now I've seen that you could do that, so now I want that every week, and I'm not going to get it.
I want the manipulation. I want the paid. You've paid a team off so they lose or whatever sort of experience. It's worrisome, to a level of like, where is this headed?
Yeah.
They
can't hold it together too long.
With that new regulation with the flexi skid pan and the front wing, why was that even brought in now? Was it because they wanted to think that it would stifle the dominance of the Red Bull? Was it those tactics to sort of bring that entertainment back?
Well, I'm sure that's happened in the past. I know Ev's mentioned that before, that when a team is dominating, they have to look for a way to subdue them, like Williams in the 90s, because you don't want them running away with it.
And just
I'm all
like
for
Mercedes,
that.
and just with Mercedes, when they brought in new tech, that wasn't it neither regulated or not regulated sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I get that. Yeah. Otherwise, people just run away with it. I think the cost cap might start showing us more organic, entertaining racing. I'm just not sure. It's hard to tell. I actually think the things that make it more interesting are the things that don't exist anymore, which is like the strategy in the tires. And we were talking before about refueling. Refueling takes another strategy away. So I think those are the things that did make racing exciting, and now they're gone. And now everyone chooses the same tires.
Well, I was just going to say, does that then stem on to the fact that they've made F1 too safe? Like, obviously, it's not a level of too safe. Like in the sense, like
Ask
obviously,
that to the guys died at Spa this year.
no, exactly,
And
no,
the one
but that's,
2 years before that, the guy who died at Spa.
yeah, but that's
But yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Like,
That's the
it's
same
just
as
this-
rugby. Rugby is safer and it's not as fun. Rugby scrums are boring because they have to be safer. They have to reset. They, go back to the 90s.
I
It's like,
thought about-
everyone ready? Bang.
Crouch, hold,
But,
engage.
And it
Yeah.
lasted 2
Yeah.
seconds and away they went. But sometimes people got injured. So we can't do it like that. Now the whole game suffers.
That's when I
for the
stopped watching
occasional
rugby.
injury,
Admittedly, it was around the time when we all watched rugby when Australia had this golden generation, or it was the last of our golden generations.
Yeah.
And I don't remember why I just stopped watching, because the Waratahs used to be really successful and everybody used to go to the Waratahs games and stuff like, and nobody, and then like it was almost like overnight nobody went, and I was like, I wonder why. And then I remember Digby's a big fan of rugby, and I was like, why don't we? I saw the start of a couple of New Zealand games because they do the haka. I was like, oh, they haven't done that. They played Australia and they didn't do the one where they jump.
Yeah.
And Digby, you were like, oh no, they're not allowed to do that anymore because it's too threatening.
No, it's
it's
too
like-
culturally incorrect.
But it's why? It's a war dance.
No, but it's incorrect for them to jump at the end. That's why they stopped jumping. They
But-
have,
but
so
don't
there are-
they
there are
decide that?
rules. No, the Maori council decide that.
They decided
They have
it.
to keep a
I'm
line
sorry.
with everyone and their fucking
Well,
dog
so they should.
has a haka in New Zealand, right? Every
Yeah,
sports
yeah.
team in school, it's so dime a dozen. I don't care about the haka. I'm like, fucking haka. And
But do the jump.
Everyone's like, oh my god, it's the fucking haka. It's like I'm so over it after being over there for 4 years. And if they don't do
John
it
Eales
correctly,
and-
it will be stripped from them. So they have to be very
Right.
careful in how they perform.
But those guys were like, there's a really fascinating article I read that was about the psychology of it, because it's meant to intimidate, right? And these guys were like, Gregan and Eales, like the biggest men of Australia, they would be like, look, we have to be stone faced, not only to respect this cultural heritage, but also to not show any fear to these other guys. And they were like, all of them were like, I was shitting myself. It was so intimidating to see 120 kilo man of muscle just to do the jump or to do like the throat slit.
The throat.
they're still allowed to do that.
And it's like, oh, I love that so much. And when the scrums go in and it's like two rams that are running on the side of a mountain and then they go crack.
Now it's like
"That's all
putting
I
two
want."
cars nose to nose and then going, now drive, instead of putting them like 10 meters apart and fucking crashing.
Yeah, when they do the burnout against each other. Anyway.
One thing, if you want a good laugh for anyone who's listening, go onto YouTube and search the first ever All Black haka. Not so intimidating. Just so you can see how far
They
it's
all
come.
white guys?
Just watch it.
Would they have
Just
been
watch
all
it.
white
It's pretty
guy?
bad. All right. So the last point of discussion.
Getting back on point.
Last point of discussion. We talked a lot today about Russell and Perez. I've been asked this several times this week. Why is everyone always talking so badly about Perez but not about Russell, when the point differential percentage-wise is skewed about the same for Lewis and Russell as it is for Max and Perez? So before I put it to you guys, just for that question, firstly, the points differential is a lot smaller between Russell and Hamilton, like a shared amount of points. So the percentage is going to be skewed way more. So that's one thing. Also,
relatively
they're finishing
speaking,
like 5th and 6th, 3rd and 4th, 6th and 7th, not 1st and 8th, 1st and 9th, 1st and 7th. They're not 27 seconds apart. They're not 50 seconds apart. They're next to each other, which would imply that they are driving similarly. That is my opinion. Now, on to you, Tay. What do you think is the difference between Russell and Perez, and why is everyone giving Perez more stick and not Russell? But also, why are there pockets of people hating on Russell and saying he deserves the same amount of hate as Perez?
Well, mainly because they're comparing Max and Lewis as being the world champions and their teammates are compared like for like. I think what people are missing, and you just said that, is the fact that, or not missing, but ignoring maybe is more the correct term, is that everyone's hating on Perez because he is meant to be number 2.
Yeah.
Simple as that. You know, they're in a dominant, an incredibly dominant car So Perez should be be doing not as great as Max, but second in line from Max. But you're not seeing any of that. Rarely this season have we seen him come even comparable to being in those top 1 and 2 spots. Whereas with Russell and Lewis, their car is more equal with each other if you want to really go down that side, that aspect. And Russell he's probably not doing as well as he was doing last year, to be fair, whereas Lewis was doing a lot worse last year, whereas now Lewis has actually adapted more to the car, and now you can really see what he can get out of that car in comparison to where Russell is, I think, getting as much as he can get out of that car.
Yeah, okay. All right. Not Liam. Evan. Evan Lawson.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. I think that was well said.
Okay, do you think any of the hate that Russell gets just comes from people who just don't like Russell?
It's probably the same reason why we hate Max.
But I don't just hate Max. No. I hate the way he outperforms everyone. It's not his fault. That's not... I hate the result. I don't like a lot of his attitude. I don't like a lot of Lewis's attitude. I don't like Norris's attitude. It's not like it's specifically Max. It's just Max happens to be at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about, and this is why I keep talking about Yuki needs to go, and like Haas need to do better.
Just do better.
Sargent needs to go. What you need are characters for your fans to rally behind
and go for the underdog.
So we're now seeing it. We're seeing it with Leclerc for the last couple of years now that he got promoted to Ferrari from Alfa Romeo. Because they wanted him to be
the face.
He was hot shit, and he still is. I don't care how they perform. In a sense, like I don't care about the result. I care about how they get there.
Right.
I want my football team to go really deep into the FA Cup. I don't care if you don't win it. I care about being swashbuckling, and that's what I want. That gets us excited as fans. Yeah. So Yuki doesn't do that because it's really hard when you can't pin down why he's successful. Sometimes he does well. Lots of other times he does really poorly, and it's not his fault. Other times he does poorly, and it very much is his fault. And it's really like Daniel Ricciardo was doing really well before he got injured in that car. And by all accounts was much better than Perez in the Red Bull when he tested that one time at Silverstone, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's like it doesn't matter if Daniel doesn't win because we're excited by him as a product. So, and we're seeing now that, as you said, that Lando is coming off as a bit of a cunt, kind of.
Always.
But now that he's got a better car and he's doing better, he's getting more exposure
about it
to that personality, and it feeds that as well. It's a bit of a vicious loop, like what we saw with Vettel, that he was hated when he was
I really
winning.
did hate him.
And also because of that defensive mentality that Christian Horner has and imbues in Red Bull, that they're always the victim, even though you've won 4 in a row. Somehow you're always the victim. And then once he left Red Bull, slowly but surely, he rehabilitated his image, and everybody loves Vettel now. And Vettel's not even racing, and everybody keeps asking, when is he coming back?
Oh, I love what he did for Japan as well. His B corner.
Yeah, those Bs. The B hotel.
Yeah.
That's what you want to... And those teams make a lot of money off of merchandise. Digby can speak to this.
Yes, they do.
Nat wants a T-shirt. All right, that'll be $120 for a
T-shirt.
I was like,
we don't charge much for merch. We make a lot of money on merch on a big weekend, and with their prices are a good 4 times the amount of our prices, with a lot more people buying them. So I can tell you, they make a lot of fucking
Speaking of work,
no way those products cost more than $20 to $30 a piece.
Yeah.
And if you've got a kid with you, you're trying to introduce your kid. Like, so now, for example, you can't bring your child. I grew up in England going to Crystal Palace games with my dad. And you can't do that now because it costs too much money.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're trying to get your son or your daughter into Formula One, and we've just had this week the first female test driver for Aston Martin. Yeah. There's that, I forget her name. I follow her on Instagram.
Of course you do.
She's an incredible driver. And, she clearly has like the same attitude. It's like, that's what everybody wants, is that attitude. It doesn't matter. I don't think people care about gender. They care about attitude.
They definitely don't. Or
skill, obviously. You need to have the skill.
I don't think they don't. I don't think they do. Even because they can't differentiate. They don't understand that it might be the attitude. They just assume it must be the gender thing.
But
Jessica Hawkins.
You can walk the walk and talk the talk, and it doesn't matter what gender you are.
She's even got a cool name, Jessica the Hawk Hawkins. Racing.
Of course, you had to make her sound like a wrestler.
No, it just sounds like a
Jessica the Hawk.
It makes it sound good. It makes her sound fast. It's like Lewis the Pig Hamilton.
No, that's not the girl. That's not the one I was
rushing.
Following.
George Russell.
This girl posted a video of like things that make you cry, and it was her going over the line at the parabolica at Monza, and so her lap got cancelled, and she's like, she's just like, that makes you cry because you've gone the whole lap. And then your car, because the tires have gotten too hot, have just like breezed over it a little bit, and it's like, what is this? And it's like, that's the attitude that we all have and we all want. Doesn't matter what gender you are, and you're really good at your job. Like, so it's all about, the attitude that. And I know Liam Lawson and what's his face at McLaren, Piastri, are like. They have like shark eyes. They're like dead behind the eyes. They show no emotion. They're like fighter pilots. You ever see an interview with a fighter pilot? We all think it's Top Gun, and they're like, no, it's not. It's like the opposite of Top Gun.
Yeah. No,
and they're just robots. You're just a robot, or like Martin Prince says in the Derby.
It's Saturdays of Thunder.
And it's
Soapbox
the
Derby races.
Pine Box Derby. It's like, you're like, the driver's essentially ballast. Like, I don't need attitude. Like, that's kind of what it is. Like, you've got a team of hundreds of engineers, hundreds of aerodynamicists, and then like one guy sits in it and turns the wheel like that.
And that's what
like,
makes Max so perfect.
The driver
the
should
unemotional, staunch,
doesn't
stoic
blink
driver who all he does is drive or drive simulate at home.
Yep.
Bingo.
I need a driver who, if I'm selling t-shirts, you're a band, I'm selling t-shirts, I can't have Yuki, who's really confusing as a product.
Yeah.
Because he's very angry and lovable, but very inconsistent. And then or Logan Sargent, an American. You got an American in here. That's going to be awesome. And then it turns out he's just so crap.
He's so shit. It's not even kind of shit.
Hang on. All right, we got to compare him. What is he comparing to Stroll then? You said Latifi before, but what about Stroll?
Yeah, but Stroll has good races. Like, Stroll will
pays
have a
his
good
way.
day.
He's already a billionaire.
When Sargent has a good day, I'm like, oh my God, this is weird. Sargent hasn't crashed yet. And then he fucking crashes. Stroll is so bad for a good driver. Sargent doesn't deserve to be on the fucking track.
Yeah.
Was that a TikTok that one of you sent me, or I saw, and it was, like a YouTube short, and it was Sargent, and it was like he overtook somebody, and it was like, all right, boys, and his
job's done.
Engineer was like, you got this, Logan, bring it on home, and then Logan was like, all right, I've got this, let's bring it on home, we'll get points.
Boom.
And then the very next corner, he went straight off, and Lando did it when they were with the rain tires in Russia, and he was like, "Hey, let me drive,"
let me
and then
drive.
straight off.
Oh, amazing! All right, well, I think that's it for us today, guys. Thank you for all who have come back and joined us after our brief hiatus. We promise not to do that again. We will be consistent to the end of the year, and we will bring back the quiz in the next episode. Next 6 races, Big Six, the Big Six. Anything
I can't wait to see what Vegas is going to be like.
You know what? We should too many races.
Yeah, Vegas. Miami's let me down, so I don't know.
Should we try and do a live effort?
A live effort. at 4 a.m. in the
nighttime.
morning. Go
Not
fuck
my,
yourself.
no, fuck you. I always have to get up early for you guys. You can get up early
No,
for
you
me
don't.
for once.
You never
Yeah,
have
I
to
do.
get up. You don't get up.
Yeah.
You get
For
up
gaming,
and watch
for
the
gaming.
replay.
For gaming, I do.
Well, gaming. I haven't been gaming in fucking months. All right, well,
Oh, have you played Baldur's Gate yet? I got that the other
don't
day.
even know
I
what
don't
that
do
is.
that.
Incredible.
all right, before we get on to the gaming list, thank you all for tuning
you.
in. We hope you've learned a little, laughed a little, cried a little, especially if you're a Sargent fan. We'll see you next
Wouldn't
week
be many
after
of
the
them.
Qatar Grand Prix.
Bow,
Thanks,
bow,
boys.
bow.
Bow, bow, bow.
Bow, bow, bow.